Good afternoon. I Today I'm going to do a little bit of a demo, some touch and goes at KERI, Erie International Airport, where I learned how to fly an airplane. I want to preface to begin with kind of what my setup is, so that so what you see in the stream, you'll have an understanding of the kind of performance that I'm getting in VR. So I'm using FPS VR, and so we're going. If I look up at the sky, we can probably get up to 60, 55 or so. But we're running pretty good. So I'm using about 6.5 gigs of the VRAM on the my graphics card. My system is an i7-9700K. I think I'm overclocked at around 4.6 or 4.7. And for my graphics card, I have an RTX 2800 Ti with 11 gig of memory on it. So I'm going to go into my graphics settings, and so click on flight over here and click on graphics. So we've got high and high anti-aliasing. I'm on the first notch. I'm on high for wheeled objects. I am running a windowed simulator. So I basically have my desktop window as small as I can get it. So that's okay for here. So resume the flight. And the one other thing is my plugins. So basically we have data ref tool, Gizmo plane command, slew mode, XPUI APC, button to command, next checklist, tab a tab, fly with Lua, and the skunk gas updater, and this is a rep airplane, so SimCoders is there. Without too much further ado, I think I'll go ahead and get the airplane kind of started up here, and we will go ahead and do some touch and goes, trying to show off the airplane. So
2 brakes. Test and set. 3 fuel selector.
on both.
4 fuel shut-off valve. On, in. 6 beacon. On. 7 avionics switch. Off. 8 master switch. On. 9 throttle. Open 1/4 inch. 10 mixture. Idle cut off. A auxiliary pump. On. B mixture. Rich until 3 to 5 GPH, then cut off. C auxiliary pump. Off. 12 starter. Engage. 1 ignition switch. Start. 2 mixture, at engine start. Rich. 3 engine. RPM 1000 RPM. 4 oil pressure. Check. 5 mixture. Leaned max. 6 flaps. Retract. 7 avionics. On. Erie INTL Tom Rich FLD information Charlie. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 010 at 5, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 9, dew point 3. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 06, departing runway 06. Advise on initial contact you have Charlie. 8 instruments.
So I need to
Erie INTL Charlie. 1600 Zulu weather. Wind 010 at 5, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 9, dew point 3. Altimeter 3007. Arriving runway 06, departing runway 06. Advise on initial contact you have Charlie.
Okay, that's enough for ATIS. And actually it's enough for this checklist. So we'll see where we're gonna go. So I need to get on actually right now I need to kind of just get the let the engine warm up a little bit, and if we're going on runway 6, so that's kind of like over that way, and I can do my there's a little area over there I can do my run up, so I'll do it over there. So I gotta wait a little bit, and I see the transponder. I need to get it on VFR, so 1 2 0 0, and right now I'll put it on standby, and so I had the privilege of being one of the developers that was part of the developer preview, but the only problem was, and that started actually on Christmas Day. It was kind of, VR started on Christmas Day 2 years ago, and the developer build was on Christmas Day too, so it was kind of cool. But the only problem is that I couldn't talk about it and I couldn't stream. So now that it's a public beta, now I can stream. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, it was kind of hard to like be streaming and not be able to talk about what you were seeing, the performance you were seeing. And I actually in VR, well, in non-VR, the increase in frames per second was pretty serious towards the end. On the early couple of builds, it was a little bit rough, but that was kind of our job, was to find bugs, send bug reports in so they could fix them. Early, we were definitely sending them more bug reports than what they had the manpower to deal with, but that's kind of how this kind of software development works. So but I could see getting towards the middle of the preview, developer preview, I could absolutely see the increase in performance. On VR, on the other hand, because I'm running a valve index, I'm running my valve index at 120 hertz. So basically, I generally will get half of that. So I'll normally get around 60 frames a second while I'm in VR. Right now, I'm a little bit below that. So, but the other thing is that I'm running ortho for X-plane at level 17 in this whole area, you know. So, and the airport's a 3D airport, you know. So it's not a real big airport, but it all seems to have some influence on it. Okay, looks like the oil temperature is up in the green. So I need to get onto the ground frequency. So I gotta click on this guy. Hello. And click on ground. So that puts me it puts the ground frequency in standby. So if I come over here, click on that, and I'm running Pilot2ATC, and and I'm also running OVR Toolkit. OVR Toolkit allows me to bring things like this, where my whole desktop is basically inside my VR cockpit, but I don't normally use it, so I can I just put it kind of out of the way, and and the Pilot2ATC, I got it up here. Same way, it's out of the way, but I can actually look up here. I can click on things, and if if the voice, if the response that I'm giving to it is not, if it's not responding to me, I can look and see what it saw. So, but it doesn't really need to be pretty much anywhere else. But it's kind of cool. It's a great thing about VR. You've got a whole big cockpit. You can put windows all kinds of places, and it doesn't seem to have a dramatic input on your influence on your performance. So what we need to do right now is I need to make sure that they're talking to me. So I'm going to ask ATC or Pilot2ATC for the weather. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf. Say weather.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf weather at Kilo Echo Romeo India is CLR. Visibility is 10 miles, winds are 020 at 5 knots, cloud coverage is CLR. Current altimeter is 3007.
Say active runway, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf arriving and departing runway 06.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request taxi.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf taxi to runway 06 via taxiways Delta, Foxtrot, Golf, hold short runway 06. Taxi to runway 06 via taxiways Delta, Foxtrot, Golf, hold short runway 06 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay, we got the flaps up, we got trim set to take off, and got about half a tank of fuel, and looks like we're probably good to go. Release park and brake. Get over here on the taxi line. So my hardware setup is I have a wheel stand Pro, and what I have on the wheel stand Pro is an MFG crosswind pedals, and I also have a Satec flight yoke. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for a fulcrum that's made in the UK. They have had component delivery problems because of the virus, and just give me a second here. So this is part of rep. Basically, it says I have my engine too slow. So whoops. And so I need to.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf contact tower on 118.1. Have a good afternoon.
So
118.1 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So this should automatically put the tower frequency up there, and it did. So if I have the RPMs of the airplane too low, basically the rep will tell me, and so I'm gonna spin around here. Come on. Alrighty. So we need to check the do a run up here. So I'm gonna bring it up to 1800. Parking brake is on. Want to make sure that that it's working. And make sure things are in the green. Vacuum's in the green. Oil pressure's in the green. Temperature's in the green. So I'm gonna go down to left and to right. Left. Both. So we had around a 150 drop. So I'll release the parking brake, and I'm gonna go wide a little bit here, so I can do like a 180 right here. Oh, put full rudder in. Try to put a little bit of right brake in. Try to make it a little quicker. Come on. Yeah, the Reality expansion pack has what they call advanced steering, and so what the deal is, it's trying to make to replicate how a Cessna works. Cessna's kind of a little crazy because you basically use your rudder pedals to basically turn the nose wheel, but it's kind of like on a bungee cord, so it doesn't it isn't kind of like a direct input. So okay, so I'm at the runway here, so we'll see if I can get this right the first time. Because I am special. Okay, whoops, let me pull the mixture back a little bit, just to make it a little happier. Tower Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, holding short runway 6. Ready for departure, remain in pattern.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf winds are 010 at 5 knots, altimeter 3007, cleared for takeoff. Runway 06, fly a left-hand pattern for touch and goes on runway 06, remain on this frequency.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 06, fly a left-hand pattern for touch and goes. Runway 06 will stay with you. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So with Pilot2ATC, as long as, and I have like a cheat sheet, I'm using, I have Avatab, it's just one of my plugins, and so I make sure that I'm doing the phraseology correct. If you do it correct, I mean, it works like a champ. So so that's what I'm also using is Pilot2ATC for my ATC. Okie dokie. Look at everything. Everything looks pretty good. Well, let's go do some touch and goes. Oops. Come on, get back over here. There we go. That's better. Yeah, we're good. So I'm going to turn the heading indicator around here. So I'll put the heading indicator where on a runway heading. So we're going to climb out here and trying to get about 500 feet up off the ground here, trying to maintain a runway heading. And the pattern altitude here is 1,800 feet. So we'll probably be about 500 feet above here. Go down, probably about the neck of the peninsula there. We'll make a left-hand turn for a heading of 3-3. This is beautiful Erie, Pennsylvania. It is a gorgeous day. I'll pull the power back a little bit. Yeah, trying for 2,000. So we'll do a left-hand turn here. Trying to maintain the altitude as we're trying to get to pattern altitude. Not turn too steep. I'm gonna basically run up along the shoreline here. This is the left-hand pattern for runway 6. So you take off the runway, head basically north, and 3-3, so a little bit. And when you get out here along the shoreline here of Lake Erie, you go ahead and make another left-hand turn. Always trying to be around a 90-degree turn, and so you. Yeah, I'm a former student pilot, and I learned how to fly here. I learned how to fly at Erie, and so I started my student pilot at about 8 years ago, and I think I flew as a student pilot for probably 3 or 4 years. So I know the airport. I know a 172, 109 hours or so on a 172. So I'm in my comfort zone. So got a little too much power here. I'm gonna pull her on back a little bit. We're trying for maybe 1800. Got to get a call in here to ATC to get permission to do a touch and go. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf downwind runway 6. Request the option.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf winds are 010 at 5 knots cleared for the option runway 06.
And with Pilot2ATC,
runway 06 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
with Pilot2ATC, you can get away with that call once. If you try to make it again, it will give you all kinds of. It will not give you that same response. So, so we need to. Yeah, the airport's here. I'm trying to get about a 45-degree angle from the airport, from the runway, before I make my pattern, my turn. So, well, RPM is looking pretty good for me. Probably need to put out 1 notch of flaps here. Try to get the plane headed down a little bit here, not too quickly, but oh yes. I had VR for a week, and let me make a turn here. I had VR for a week, and actually was flying. I was actually flying this airplane, the rep package, and I was in a hurry. I did not let the airplane 1 more notch of flaps. Come on, down. And I was in a hurry. I did not let the airplane warm up, and so I went ahead and I took off. The airplane was not warmed up. It was not a good thing to do. Rep packages are unforgiving. If you got a turn here coming in for the runway, and so it wasn't warmed up. I was about 1,000 feet AGL, and I come in and about 1,000 feet AGL. All of a sudden, I hear the engine just coughing, and I'm like, oh no. And so I was on 2-4. I was coming the opposite direction I am right now. Let me get set up a little bit here. Rep package is a little bit different, so the approach compared to the default Cessna is different. So I'm just trying to get my airspeed where I can get my airspeed about right, and come in here and do about a proper descent. Yeah, put the last notch of flaps out. I'm definitely high, probably a little too high. Rep does not like to slow down. I can tell it right now. I've got it at idle, and I'm still doing 70 knots. So we're going to have to use up a bit of this runway to pull this off. Okay. We're descending a little too quickly here. So I'll pull back on the yoke a little bit, try to break that. Yep, break it. Break it. Break it. Oops. I'm a little high off the runway here to be this slow. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, not too bad. I pulled that off. Okay, we're up. Make sure you're going down the runway, right? Okay, we're doing a touch and go, so I'll go ahead and give it a little more throttle. More throttle. More throttle. More throttle. Okay. You get about 55 knots. I can pull it right off the ground here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And I got to get the, got to move the trim, because right now I've got full power. And when I had it trimmed for basically reduced power. So I have to retrim it so that when I'm climbing out, I'm 80 knots. Back to the story. I was, like I said, 1,000 feet AGL. The engine stops right straight in front of me. I've had VR for a week, and kind of like went, okay, well, this is realistic. So I did a really, really, really slow turn back to the airport. I'm 1,000 feet above the ground, so I got room. The whole time I was thinking is, this runway here is 8,500 feet long. All I need to do is get part of it underneath me, and I'll be golden. I landed the airplane. From that point forward, never ever flew on a 2D screen again. It was only VR. That's all I ever fly. It is so realistic. So, okay, we're coming up on pattern altitude. I'll pull the power back to 2,000. So it is. I mean, it is like, you know, like I was flying in a real 172. Yeah, it's just, and the frames, though, they help, no doubt about it. Okay, we're probably a little bit too far down, but we'll still be okay. Yeah, if you are struggling with like 20, 30, even 40 frames a second in VR, it is a really unpleasant experience, you know. But this is like real life. I mean, so. I mean, I look down. I mean, it's real life. I mean, I'm running, like I said, I've got 17 ortho, and so it makes the buildings kind of pretty close to what it would be in real life. So, I'm gonna go back to, I think, 1,800 here. The REP, the Reality Expansion Pack, the Cessna is, I think the proper term would be slipperier. So it tends to not like to slow down. So I was like on approach there. I was pretty fast, and normally I want to be 65 knots across the threshold. And I looked down. I went, well, that's not going to happen. So, but also, just knowing the airplane, it kind of like, okay, well, so I'm not going to touch down on where the threshold is. I'll be past it, but it still doesn't mean I can't make a good landing. I mean, so yeah. So we're at level. We're right around pattern altitude here, so that's all good. So I will make a call to the to tower, and knowing that. Good afternoon, GA pilot. I am a GA pilot also. Former student pilot, but just loving VR. So I'll make the call, but I'll do it a little bit different. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 06.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 010 at 5 knots, cleared for the option runway 06.
So if I break...
Runway 06, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So if I break the calls up, then she's happy with what I'm trying to do. Okay, better get a notch of flaps out here. I'll pull the power back a little bit. Probably can almost go back to 15 here. 1,500. We'll see. Yeah, I'm good. So we're looking for a heading of 150. Basically south. For a minute there, I thought I was a little too close up, but I guess I'm okay. One more notch of flaps out. Last notch of flaps. Too high. Cool. That was nice. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Alrighty. So, just kind of ease the power into it. Just trying to give it a little bit of right rudder to counter the P factor. Okay. Full power in. We're good enough. We can come off the ground. Thank you for the follow. At least I think that's what that sound is, if I remember right. Yeah, it is. It is smooth. It is. This is fun. This is seriously fun. And I try to in my streams convey how much fun I'm having. Trying to, and the goal here is I'm trying to relive what I experienced as a student pilot at this airport. I will fly away, but today the clouds were I didn't think they were going to clear off, so I just kind of planned to do I did a touch and go. I did touch and goes yesterday, same type of stream, and I'll pull this back to 2000 with the default airplane, and I also wanted to see like how different they are. But the real thing is to show off what Vulcan does. Vulcan makes this VR experience smooth. So go ahead and turn to 3.3, and from Austin's last video with Michael Brown, that's his goal. His goal is to make VR a very smooth experience, and we're only beta one. He's will definitely be there. So the other thing is that I am normally a Linux user, so I'm a developer, so I write plugins, and I'm basically I am the current head of development of Fly with Lua, and I'm also the author of X-Static Panels, the plugin that allows static panels to be used with X-Plane, and I'm also the co-author of X-Checklist, but I develop on Linux, but on VR I have to use Windows. So I have been playing around with trying to use VR in Linux. It's been a fun ride. We're not there yet. We're close. Vulcan was kind of one of the pieces of the puzzle that we needed to do. And now that it's here, now I am definitely going to. My goal is I want to stream X-Plane 11, VR, Vulcan, in Linux before June. That's my goal, and I think I'll make it. I think I'll make it. Alrighty, better call. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 06.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 010 at 5 knots, cleared for the option runway 06.
Cleared, touch and go runway 06 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay, we'll put out a notch of flaps here. It's kind of balloon up a little bit, so try to get it to nose down a little bit. Kind of liking the airspeed a little bit better. Probably can pull the power back a little bit more. Alrighty. We're definitely too high here, but probably didn't have too much problem resolving that. Back with power. Another notch of flaps out. Try not to get too steep a bank here. Yeah, we're definitely high. Oh yeah, we're way high. I'll put the last notch of flaps out. Trying to get this bad boy slowed down here. Yeah, it's high. It's not that high. Okay, I'm at idle right now. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, that's the difference with the difference with the reality expansion pack is the thing is so slippery. So I was whoops, I might as well take off here. Whoops, not too much. So I was like idle for a lot of that approach, and still was carrying quite a bit of airspeed. So I was flaring just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit too far above the runway. So, but also no, you know, just can react to that. So you kind of like, oh, whoops, I've got my nose like a little bit too far up. So just let it flatten out a little bit. Never to the point where you want all three wheels to touch. Never. I'm the opposite of that. That nose wheel is probably 1.5 feet off the ground, and we so you just go ahead and just try to control that, just finesse it. So so where are we at here? Oh, okay, we're pretty good. So we'll go ahead and make a turn to 3-3. I think in all reality, it's easier in a real plane. And here's the reason why. You can't feel what I was doing there on the landing. That finesse. That comes from a lot of years of doing it in a real airplane. But in a real airplane, you can actually feel it in your butt. You know, you can actually feel those pressures in the same way as you can feel the pressure on the yoke, you know, depending on what's going on here. So got way too much airspeed there. We'll straighten her out. But that's a difference. Yeah, it is. I firmly believe that it's more difficult in a simulator. The VR helps a lot. It really does. It gives you the sight picture, you know, so that it's what's a little bit too low. I'm gonna need to trim this thing up a little bit to get my. So I'm gonna trim it up. I'm gonna get the airspeed to drop down a little bit, and have it gain just a little bit of altitude. But yeah, I firmly believe that is absolutely true. Yeah, because like I have like 100 and I'm a former student pilot, so I have 109 hours in a Cessna 172 and probably 300 landings. You know, I mean, so it's like when I like truly screw up a landing. I mean, it is. To me, it's disappointing. It's kind of like, you know how to do this, then there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do it again. And so that's kind of how I feel. Whoop. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 06.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6. Uh-oh. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf winds are 010 at 5 knots, cleared for the option runway 06.
Cleared, touch and go runway 06 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Thought you forgot about me. Yeah, we'll see if we can do a little better approach here. The airspeed looks better. As long as I don't mess it up here. One more notch of flaps out. We'll power back a little bit. Yeah, when I turn here, I should be actually at 1,200 feet. So once again, I'm high. We'll see what we can do. And I actually may be just a little too much close in on the runway. So, but. Want to get it to descend, but I also don't want the airspeed to kind of run away. So, because right now I should be at 65, and I'm about 80, so I am too quick. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, we're covered not too badly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of what my instructors have taught me over the years. Okay, just ease up into the throttle. Just keeping a little bit of right rudder pressure. We're high enough. We're fast enough. Your approaches are probably the most important thing. And as long as you recognize, I recognize, yep, I'm high. But you also notice where I actually landed at. I landed pretty close to the threshold. So so I was fast. Yeah, I was coming down that final at probably 78 knots. Should be at probably 65 knots. But you just adjust. I mean, you just kind of go like, okay, well, So if you looked at my my feet per minute coming down, it was pretty high. It was probably 800 feet a minute that I was coming in at, and but you just adjust. You just, it's a constant. No landing is going to be the same, and luckily the winds aren't too bad today, so. And I looked, I hadn't reset my trim, so I was wondering why I was not climbing very fast here, and I hadn't reset my trim, so I looked, and I was like I'm climbing at like 100 knots. I'm kind of like, oh no, I should be at 85 knots at the most, so I had to, whoops. The only problem with the VR controller is every once in a while, like I just look down and the thing is like I'm highlighted on the throttle, and so when I move my controller back, I pulled the throttle back, and I went, oh, that's not what my intention was. So it's just things you have to learn, when you're flying, because so I have a valve index, so I fly with valve index controllers. So what it means is so right now the plane is trimmed, so my hands are free. I am not touching the yoke at all because the plane is in trim, and when you trim for airspeed. So at this throttle setting, I'm basically running around 85 knots, and but the plane's trimmed, so the plane is like slowly descending. So I need to get it back up, because I really, right here, I should not be descending. I should be at pattern altitude. So I'm actually low in pattern altitude. So I should be able to, put some power back in it, and to try to get it to at least level off and climb a little bit, because I'm going to be too low when I make my turn here. So I need to just put some power into it, and just get it to slowly climb. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 6. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, call turning final for runway 06.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6. He is not talking to me. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request the option, runway 6.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, winds are 360 at 6 knots, cleared for the option runway 06.
Cleared, touch and go runway 06, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Okay. See if we can do a little better approach here. I'll put another notch of flaps out. Oops. Then went all the flaps out. Okay, better approach. Still high. that's like 70 coming across the threshold, and I was 70 for quite a while. So you just have to watch it. Just pull the yoke back a little bit. Just make sure she keeps descending. You're just arresting. You're arresting. You're arresting. Arresting. Whoops. That wasn't good. That was a bounce. That was not good. I had a little bit too much airspeed. And so that was not good. So come on, get back over here in the center line. Give me just a second. Okay. I would say experience. You kind of have to like how do I know like that I am a little bit too high above the runway without actually like looking down? It's more you have to like look out the sides, and you're kind of like judging it by looking like out here and out here. You're kind of making that judgment from your peripheral to you know, where the runway looks to you is, I guess it's the best way I can explain that. I think I'm gonna do a full stop on this one. I did a few. I'm quite happy. And yeah, I am really happy with frames, so. Alrighty, back to 2000. And if on the approach, if everything is set up pretty good, then the runway should kind of stay in the same place on your windscreen. It should not move up or down. If it kind of stays there, then you're descending at the right rate, because your goal is 500, at least on a Cessna, like 500 feet per minute. That's kind of your goal, is that you're trying to come over the threshold at like 500 feet per minute. But now between the time you're over the threshold and the time when you're going to put your wheels on the runway, then you've got to get rid of quite a bit of that. So, you know, if you look at what my landing rates were, I'm probably, if it said it was acceptable, then I'm probably under 200, probably under 200 feet per minute. If it's a butter landing, you're under 100, you know, so that you've went from 500 foot per minute to like less than 100 feet per minute, where in between the time you cross the threshold and the time that you put your wheels on the runway. So, and you can, in a real airplane, you can actually feel that. But in a sim, you have to kind of look, you know, look at the vertical speed indicator, and also just look at the sight picture. You can kind of tell if the runway is kind of like falling out from under. In other words, if the runway is like climbing up, you know, or falling down. I mean, it's that sight picture. You'll notice it pretty quickly, and so we're our pattern altitude looks pretty good. That's not a 6 Bravo Golf, downwind runway 6, full stop landing.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf winds are 360 at 6 knots, cleared to land runway 06.
Cleared to land runway 06 Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
And with Pilot2ATC, if I say it like that and a full stop landing, then no matter when I do that in my patterns, she'll respond to me that way. The very first thing she'll say is wind, and so we'll put a notch of flaps out. I'll pull it back to. I'm gonna try around 1600 and see how that works out for me, because I'm a little bit high and should be able to get rid of this. Yeah, I redid my sounds, and the way I did it is I did a recording, and I'm gonna put. Oh, I already have it out. I did a recording so I could kind of listen to myself to make sure, and I think I got it pretty good. So. So when I come over here, I really should be at around 1,200 feet, and I see I'm like at 1,600. So we'll have to scoot out some altitude here, but I think we know how to do that. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm turning early enough. I'll pull the power back a little bit more. That you don't like completely overshoot the runway. So. But a lot of it is speed. Blast not your flaps out. Blast not your flaps out. And so if your airspeed's like slow enough, it gives you a lot. You know, if you like come down this thing, you know, at ooh. If you like come down final like at 80, 85 knots, you know, you're kind of like running out of time to like do anything, you know. So. Yeah, I'll put a little bit of power back in it. Was not liking what I was seeing. A little bit off on the runway here. Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. Ooh, that's good. Oh, not too bad.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf exit runway when able.
Okay. Go down here. This is actually a runway, but I'll use it as a taxiway to get off the runway. And make a right turn or left turn right here. And get past this hold short line. Hold short here. Well, finally the brakes work. Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, clear of the active.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, welcome to Erie International Ridge, contact ground on 121.9er. Have a good afternoon.
Ground on 121.9er Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
So now that I'm on ground, I can request taxi. So ground Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, request taxi to general aviation parking.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf, taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Delta. Taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Delta, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cool. Yeah, I couldn't tell if I actually bounced there or not. I think I did. That was my vertical speed was too high, and I was trying to flare the airplane too far above the runway, and if you get the wheels to come down, so they touch the runway, and the airspeed is not slow enough that the airplane can land, that's how you do a bounce. The airplane is just not slow enough to land, and so you may actually get the wheels on the ground, but it doesn't mean they're going to stay there. So, but it wasn't really bad. Okay, turn please. Alrighty. I'll pull the power back. So I'll put the parking brake on. Come on. And so the first thing we need to do is get the avionics turned off so that we don't break it. And so at that point in time, I've already cleaned up the flaps, trim set back. So, pull out the mixture. Land dies. Turn off all my switches. All this. Off, off, off. Let me just do a quick look over. Yes, I'm good. Okie dokie. There is one. Let me bring it up. There's a special one for this airplane. So I use X Checklist. I use it because I'm the co-author. So if I click on open. So this is the, I'll leave it down here for right now. So this is a checklist that I use, and it's from, let me back up a little bit. Oops. I didn't really mean to do that. I hit the hide button. Come on.
Test and set. 3 fuel selector.
So it's the user is Belgraph on xplane.org. If you look for the REP, the Rep 172, you will find this. Trying to figure out why my why I can't grab a hold of it for some reason. Grab a hold of that. Huh. That's a little weird.
2 brakes. Test and set. 3 fuel selector.
I don't know what that was about, but that's the checklist I use, and the checklist program I use is X Checklist, and that is I'm the co-author of that. My friend Michael, who lives in the Czech Republic, he's the other author. So he's the one that actually decided that checklist ought to talk. And so if I click on next,
2 brakes.
then checklist actually talks to you. So it's just kind of a cool thing, and the fact that it works. And the pluses over here mean it's in co-pilot mode. So basically, if I so right now, if I turn the beacon on, that'll check it. So if I turn the beacon on right now, that turns that on. So but it works quite well, and I started using VR like shortly after it became native for X-Plane. My goal was to be the very first plugin that was VR compatible, and as soon as I was given the tools to do it, this is the very first plugin that was available in VR was X Checklist. So really, really, really proud of that, and I just love the way that it works, where you can just put it right here. You can still read it. What I did is I highlighted the back of these so there's a little bit of contrast, but you can see right through it. So I mean, I can see the hangar. I mean, I could land with this thing in front of me, you know. So that is to me, that is what's so important, is to be able to not have your view blocked. And it's even like the because it was paper. I'm sorry, because it was paper. And VR has special needs. So a checklist more tailored to VR is important. It just is. And I really hadn't thought about that, you know, but I know the checklists that I use, they are based on real checklists. So, you know, but too cool. So now that I have that off, if I go ahead and hit the pause button, then that basically allows the this landing rate thing. It allows it. So yeah, you can tell. So my vertical speed was minus 344. So when I hit the runway, I had not really gotten rid of enough. It said acceptable. Well, it was a good flare. Yeah, well, if you bounce, it's still not a good landing. but that's the same thing as that this landing rate thing. I made it I changed it where the background is transparent, so I can actually see right through it and see a hangar behind me. So, but that told me what I needed to know is if I'm coming in, I was coming in at I think more than 500 feet per minute, and I didn't get rid of enough vertical descent to make a better landing. So they call it acceptable. Yeah, I'm not sure I would, but that's just the way they rate it. So, but cool. This was a lot of fun. And so I'm glad everybody who come along and join me in my adventure today. And weather's supposed to be good again tomorrow. So I'm trying to think what I want to do. I think if it's nice enough, I think I'm going to go out to the to our local practice area, and I think I'm going to practice some stalls. I think I'm about up for that. So we'll our practice area is at Edinburgh, so it's about 30 nautical miles away from us, something like that, and that's where we, as a student pilot here, that's where we would go. And it's pretty easy to find. You follow 79 south, and you see Edinburgh Lake. You make a left, out past, go to the east, and that is basically the practice area. So I'm thinking I'm about up for doing something like that. So I don't think I've ever done stalls in VR before, so should be an entertaining experience. So we'll see if how well I remember what I was taught, so without doing anything too crazy. I'm trying to think which airplane I want to use. If I want to use a default Cessna, or if I want to use a rep. I think I'm going to use a rep, so it'll be more realistic. So if I do something bad, it'll break. So should be fun. Any other questions? Cool. Yeah, like I said, like right now we're still okay. You know, that's way good. So I gotta find one of my gadgets. Okay. Then I'll call it a day. So so like I said, I'm using like OBR Toolkit. So when I need to stop the stream, I just come up here and click on the stop stream button. Whoops.